Hello, hello. Haven't been on live in a while. Very exciting. How's everyone's Wednesday going? A one person here. Thank you for being here. Please say hi in the chat. Hello, hello. So if you are watching this live, welcome. So today we are going to be covering a few topics that have been kind of talked about a lot in the hello Rebecca, I hope you're doing well. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about a few topics, like big news stories that have been going on in the beauty community. One has been this Diva Curl scandal. The second one I want to talk about is about Michelle Phan and her comments about essential oils. The third one is going to be the Kat Von D Beauty Rebranding, or KVD Vegan Beauty is what it's now called, and my thoughts on that, and just, talk about like some things that are going on. So we're gonna wait a couple minutes before I start diving into the Diva Curl, since that's what I think most people want to watch. I will cut out this part for replay viewers, but for now, anyone have Valentine's Day plans? Anything exciting? I will not be doing anything because we are trying to save money. Okay, everyone's doing good. All right, well, there's enough people here. We'll just get into it. People will join us as we come along. So the first thing we're talking about is the Diva Curl scandal. So if you have not heard about the Diva Curl scandal, basically what happened is this has been a cult product for like 25 years, people following the curly girl method and whatnot, and it seemed about 2017 or 2018, somewhere around there, people, I guess, had started to notice a difference. And most of these girls have really, really curly hair. That's who this product is targeted for. And their curls started to become looser. People had hair falling out. People have claimed scalp irritation. People have there's been a lot of other things. I don't know how legit those are, but we'll focus on the ones that are more hair related, because that obviously this is a hair product, so it is targeting it. So let's look at what Diva Curl said. So after all this, and all these people were made, I've seen so many videos about it. If you look up Diva Curl scandal on YouTube, there's a ton of people who used to be brand ambassadors that are now talking about this on there. I think Aisha was the first one I saw, and you just could see, she showed before and after pictures where she had religiously used the specific products are the No Poo shampoo, I believe. That line seems to be the specific one, but people have claimed that they have had issues with the other lines too. And there's just been a lot of people who have talked about their problems with Diva Curl, and even people who used to be brand ambassadors have been coming out and saying that they support these people, and even though they haven't had any of these symptoms. So let's look at what Diva Curl said. Let me take a drink of my coffee first. Today's mug is brought to you by Wicked. Great show. So their statement that they put out yesterday says, "To our beloved curl community, nothing is more important to us than you. As a curl community, we know the curl journey is a unique and personal one, as your curls are an expression of who you are. We always want your curls to be a source of pride, never anxiety. This is at the center of what our brand stands for and what our professional stylist community has helped to encourage over the last 20 years. So when some of you first raised concerns about our products, we were laser focused on our testing and as the best way to confirm their safety and quality. You can feel confident using Diva Curl because all of our products have gone through rigorous testing that has confirmed they are safe and adhere to both quality assurance and regulatory standards. We've heard you and recognize that any changes to your hair, for whatever reason, demand a special type of attention, that safety, blah, blah." And they're basically partnering with a ton of medical professionals, dermatologists, stylists, all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what their goal is working towards, I guess. But they didn't really try, and then they have frequently asked questions, so we're going to go through that as well. So they asked, so the first question is, are Diva Curl products safe to use? So they say yes, they're safe to use, and they've gone through testing and blah blah blah, and they meet the requirements of the U.S. Cosmetic Ingredient Review, CIR. That's a safety board. If you've been on my channel, we've talked about this for a while. And the EU Scientific Committee on cosmetic safety. So the EU, that's an important one to remember later because they only recently went into the EU. And so it says, what testing have you done? So we're going to kind of go through the testing. So it says they are subject to rigorous and thorough industry standard testing. So the first one is stability testing. So they basically go through a range of temperatures. So they do cold, freezing, room temperature, usually extreme heat. And it says for several months. That's pretty typical. They check the product's pH to see if the pH changes, viscosity, which is the thickness, odor, appearance, all that kind of stuff to make sure that, like, over time that these are stable. That's very, very important. Usually that's done at the beginning of a product, like when they usually R&D stages and the initial commercial development of a product. It can be done regularly throughout afterwards, maybe once a year or something, but that just depends on the company and their ability to store these samples. The next one is microbial challenge testing. So basically the way micro testing works and is they bombard the sample of your product with a whole bunch of microbes, and then they see if anything grows afterwards. So, and says they use non-toxic, effective preservatives to keep the product in use safe. So basically it says it doesn't grow anything. But I don't know if anyone really believed this was a bacteria contamination issue. I think it is on the hair, so I don't think that would be super relevant. But then the next one is the human repeat insult patch test. So this test is performed on people's skin to test for irritation. So basically they test it on a part of the skin to make sure it's not irritating. I don't know which part of the skin they're using it on. I would hope they would use it on a person's scalp because that seems to make the most sense, but who knows? And then they do ocular testing to make sure it doesn't damage your eyes, packaging compatibility testing. So that test confirms there are no reactions between the package and the formula over a period of several months at extreme heat conditions. So that's a very important part because that's going to be relevant to something we talked about further on. So product storage, they say how they store their products, and additional evaluation. So for every Diva Curl product before each batch is released, then they check for appearance, odor, viscosity, and microbiological testing, which is very standard because that's where you see if something went wrong when the batch was making. And so it says, are there ingredients in your product? And so this is what gets me. So they're like, are there ingredients in your product that could cause hair loss? And they're like, no, our products are not. That's fine. And they're like, our products are free of, and they have this whole list of things, which I hate that. That isn't clearly people are having issues. So don't tell me what's not in your product. We need to know what's in your product. That is important. And then the next one is, have you reformulated? And they said, we occasionally update our product and their ingredients to enhance the performance of the product or comply with the latest regulatory requirements. So if any regulation changes happens frequently, they have to take something out, put less of something. One recently was one for dioxane levels, which is a contaminant, and the standard was 10 ppm. This, I don't know if this is in there. This is just kind of off topic, but they changed it 10 ppm. So now regulations are trying to lower that to 1 ppm, which means if any of these ingredients contain something over 1 ppm, then their formulators are going to have to switch it out. And anytime they update any ingredient or preservative in our products, they undergo rigorous safety testing, again, to ensure they meet our own. I'm not sure what kind of safety testing each individual material does or just the products itself. And they kind of say that and then kind of going on, they say maybe you should go talk to medical professionals if you're having these issues. Should you stop using product? No, continue to use our products. Then if you experience it, stop using it. So they're not considering a recall because they have their testing done and they stand by the quality and safety of their products. And is Diva Curl offering refunds? And yes, they are, and blah, blah. Okay, so going through what they said. So basically they're long story short, they're trying to say that their products are safe, that they're safe to use, and this makes sense to me. The company, and a lot of people feel very upset that they don't seem like this company is standing by their customers, and I can see that perspective of it. But you have to remember, if this company claims responsibility, then that's a huge liability on them. So that I can't imagine companies that would be like, hey, sorry, we hurt you. No company wants to hurt you. No company wants to admit they hurt you. And what was I going to say? I was going to say something else. So I can see, so right now they're standing by, oh yeah, so remember the whole Claire's controversy where even at that point, the FDA, after after that complaint from someone who had sent it out for testing, they had said, oh, like you have asbestos in your product and warn the public, do not use this. And it took that, and then after the FDA even said your product has asbestos, Claire tried to say, oh, it doesn't have asbestos. And then finally they gave in, and that's when they recalled their product. So I think these companies are going to fight tooth and nail until they like know for sure that their product has something. And at this point, and even for the talc one, that one hadn't harmed anybody. It just wasn't safe, so they had to recall it. If they claim this hurt someone and they agree to that, that's a whole different issue. So I like they're looking out for their business, obviously. So now, so my experience with Diva Curl. So I haven't used any Diva Curl products. The only interaction I've ever had with Diva Curl is at Sephora back in LA. They gave me a sample of it, and when I was talking to the rep, she was talking about how it's free from this and free from this. So I was already kind of turned off to the brand to begin with, and plus it's for girls with like really curly hair. Obviously, my hair is just like kind of wavy. Yeah, this isn't that wavy right now, but I gave it to my mom, and luckily I told her not to use it for now. Luckily, she hadn't used it yet, but I mean, it was only one sample, so I don't think it would have really caused any problems. And has something like this happened before? So there's actually a lawsuit, and it was a $26.5 million lawsuit. Ended up costing When Hair Care. I think it's When Hair Care by Chaz Dean, and they had a cleansing conditioner, I believe is what it was called. So kind of a similar idea to that No Poo, and they ended up settling for 26.5 million with their customers because they just didn't want to have to go through all this litigation, and it would probably end up costing them more. So I've been watching a lot of videos on this, and I found a lot of people's theories. I don't really have inherently like much of my theories. It's kind of just going off what but I'm going to tell you what certain people's theories are. So one of the more prominent people of bringing this issue to light was the Curl Ninja. I think she's the Diva Curl certified, whatever that entails, stylist. And she's been talking about this a lot. She's made many, many, many videos, and I've watched a lot of them. So her theory was that something changed in the formula, or something changed. And that's what's now causing these kind of problems. So the latest one that she's had was about vinyl chloride, and it being in the plastic, being leached from the plastic because they got like a cheaper plastic or something. That one, I'm not really like that sure about, because the first because the like one of the testings that Diva Curl said they did. Now, mind you, like these theories could all be true, but it's kind of like, this is how I feel, like if I feel like this could be true or this could not be true, based on like my background and experience. These are just my opinions. And so the Curl Ninja said that this vinyl chloride is being leached from the plastic because they kept it in a hot warehouse, and that's why some people are having problems and some people are not. One of the testing that Diva Curl did, and they even addressed, was that they did do this kind of testing. So they had the plastic and they put it at extreme conditions in which this would get brought out. So they claim they did this testing. I would be interested to see like what the results were of this, what they look like, what their test methods were. But we don't know until companies tell us. So that one, and the other part of it was that I just saw she had released a video about one of her viewers had sent her info about this .com company, which is their distribution, but that the distribution company, the .com company, would have nothing to do with the packaging or anything. They're just the ones like sending it out. It's like Jeffree Star and Killer Merch. He's not manufacturing it, he's sending it out. So it's not quite the same thing. So the next theory was from Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre is a dermatologist here on YouTube. And her theory is more, it doesn't lie in the product, it lies in how they are teaching people to use it. Now, I'm not very familiar with the curly girl method, but a lot of it's not washing your hair, or not washing it as frequently, and or the method of washing. That's kind of where this no poo thing comes in. And like Dr. Dre's theory is that there's a buildup of residue, and that's actually irritating the scalp. So I thought that was interesting. The Curly Ninja kind of refuted that because she said as a hairstylist she would see it, but who knows? But I'm not sure what the amount would have to be. So basically, the idea is that you have product buildup on your scalp, and there's product sitting there to where it's now causing irritation to the scalp, and that's what's causing the hair to be dry and losing hair and that kind of thing. And a lot of people didn't really like this idea, but I did see a couple other scientists on Twitter express the same sentiments. I don't know if they watched her video, but they said the same thing, is like, you do have to like use this. And a lot of these people who were commenting on Dr. Dre's video said that they don't think that's it, and it's what about the styling products, and they don't use the no poo. So I don't think so. This may not be the exact reason, but I definitely think it could be a factor and maybe be contributing just because of the method of caring for hair, possibly. All right, and the last one is Kenna Whitnell. She's a biochemist, and her theory is that the product has been adulterated. Adulteration means that the product, whatever ingredient was getting put in there, isn't what it says it is. And the kind of testing that's involved with this is what you call identification testing. And in OTC products, for example, you have to identify it. Like, no, like even if it's not pure or whatever, the main thing is that you confirm that that ingredient is what it is. And this actually became a really, really big deal because of an issue with cat food at one point. So the problem was with this cat food is these people were buying it from these suppliers and are buying their ingredients from a supplier, and some supplier decided to cheap out and switch it out with something that ended up being poisonous to cats, and it killed off a lot of little kitties, which is very, very sad. So that's why this identification test is important. You need to at least confirm what you're putting in there is what you say it is. And she brought up the issue with the with testing things and how expensive it is, and she's very right. Some like the testing methods that she discovered, like GCMS and that kind of stuff, is a very, very expensive to send out. It could be a couple $1,000s. If you remember the Jaclyn Hill lipstick, so when she sent that out, and she sent it out for micro testing is not that expensive. Like for the amount of samples she sent out, it had to cost her less than probably like $750, like at maximum, maybe 1,000, but I really, really think like maybe even under 500, like based on like the numbers that I've seen. It's also in Canada, so I don't know how expensive it would be up in Canada. So let's look at the Diva Curl ingredients. For the no poo shampoo, we'll do that. Let's see. Thank you guys for commenting on the side. I know I'm not really like vocally like saying anything, but I like to read your comments and kind of see your perspective too. That's the whole reason why I wanted to go on live, is because I like to hear other people's thoughts on it and opinions. Okay, so let's look at ingredients. So some of these things are going to be kind of hard to figure out what they are with an easy test. So something like cetyl alcohol, glycerin, some of these things are really easy that are just molecules, propylene glycol. But a lot of these extracts, to have to profile them is going to be a lot harder. So like the natural ones are going to require these GC tests, and those are just really expensive. And Kenna is like pretty like heavily knowledgeable about a lot of like more of the like the more like natural extract kind of ingredients, and how like adulteration's been like a big problem. That's kind of the most important thing, is things getting adulterated. And so they're trying to like either cut it or try to put something else in there. And if these cosmetic companies aren't checking, sometimes like more of the corporate ones, I think would be more likely to have manufacturing facilities that check. But some of these ones who are smaller may not have the budget, because you'd have to pay the manufacturing facility. That would be part of it, is that they're doing this raw material testing for you. So these are, I know like Diva Curl's not a small company, but they may have not decided that they may have not wanted to take that cost to test these ingredients, if that's what the problem is, if the problem actually is adulteration. So that's her theory. And some of the reasons why companies would do this is not adulterating, but yeah, like it's cheaper if they switch suppliers. Like she said, like you want good supplier relations. So the reason why you'd switch suppliers is, one reason is that it seems like they're really trying to scale. They're trying to go into Europe, and they might need to make bigger volumes of this. So some, especially these natural extracts, they may not be able to obtain them at the rate that they need to obtain them or in the quantities. So they may have had to go with multiple suppliers, different suppliers, and that may be a problem. Cost is an issue, of course. Cost could be a reason why they switch. And the other one, like they mentioned, could be regulations. So again, they're going into the EU, so maybe they have different requirements of what is allowed. That also goes into, I know they changed the ingredients of one of the conditioners at least. So that's my big thing is I don't know. A lot of people said, oh, they didn't do any major reformulations, but it even says on their website that they've had to reformulate for various reasons. So if they had one reason, if they did this in preparation for going to the EU, maybe they reformulated it because they couldn't use something in the EU. And now they added something in that is like affecting people, or maybe an allergen. They're changing things for that kind of reason. So I think like the formulation could actually be the problem. If they do reformulate, it is very likely. I don't think the leaching from the plastics is a problem. That doesn't seem to be very common. And actually, interesting enough, I did kind of try to go through reviews on Ulta of other shampoos, and I actually did see a couple where people had similar issues but with different brands. So maybe this is not as uncommon as we think it is. What was I going to say? There was something I was going to say. Look at my list. That's why I make notes. But yeah, so basically, I think something might have changed when they were expanding their amounts, that kind of thing. So what do you guys think about that? Let's see what you guys think. I know I saw some people. Is it just the no poo products? The no poo products seem to be the focus of said problem, but other people are claiming that they have problems. Oh, that's what I want to talk about. So the problem is with this kind of stuff is now that we have Twitter and things like that, you not discounting any of these people's experiences or their suffering, but sometimes you don't really know if things are true or if things are, people are jumping on the bandwagon. I know a lot of people have been talking about extra medical issues they've been suffering, but there's so many variable factors with humans that if it's not in a control study, like someone having other issues. There was like a syndrome that people were having where your fingers get cold and then hot, but like I get that sometimes. And I haven't used Diva Curl products, and it seemed like it was a very common syndrome. So I think it's kind of hard because people kind of start to worry and freak out, and they blow things out of proportion before we really get answers. So that's always hard. So I try to watch a lot of videos and get people's, but I also try not to take everybody's anecdotal evidence, what people are putting out there, as like 100% caused by this or causing like other health issues, I guess is what I would mean. So I don't know if anyone on here has had issues with it. That's the other half of it too, is when we see all these people are saying, oh, thousands and thousands and thousands of people are having these problems, but the internet kind of blows things up. So we're not, compared to how many people are using them, we're not really sure how many people are. So we've seen that in the past happen where people post stuff on the internet and it seems like everybody's having an issue with it, but in reality, it's a small portion. I know recently with the Tati Beauty Blendiful Sponge, a lot of people, at least on Tati said that only a certain percentage, like 1% or like 0.1% or something, I think was the number she said, were having problems with her little Blendiful sponge. But it seemed like a lot of people were having issues with it being washed or whatnot. So that's always something to be mindful of when we see news like this, is I like to wait and see what comes out. It's really hard not to speculate, but sometimes like we have to wait for answers. Okay, so now that we've gone through that, I would like to talk about Michelle Phan and her essential oil claims. So Michelle Phan, I guess, is really, really into essential oils. And there was a post that she posted on Instagram on her stories, and it says, and it has it's like it's not an infuser because it's just the candle, and she puts the essential oils in there. She's basically diffusing essential oils into her house, and she says our first point of contact for viruses is our nose. If you are burning antiviral essential oils around you, this will kill off the viruses before it enters your system. And Dr. Pimple Popper, Dr. Sandra Lee, if you've heard of her, even posted and commented on it that said, sorry, antiviral essential oils don't exist. And for me, this is really important. I'm really glad that Dr. Sandra Lee kind of said something to her, because a lot of influencers and that kind of thing kind of talk about products in a medical sense when it's not really like responsible, if that makes sense. So for instance, Michelle Phan saying you should use essential oil, you should use these essential oils, it's really important because it'll kill the virus before it enters your body. It could be misleading advice, and sometimes, and this may be really small, but it could lead to people not seeking medical attention or not seeking doctors because, person on the internet told them that that's fine, that this will solve their problems. And this actually made me think of something that Jen Loves Reviews. I don't know if anyone saw her FTC video where she spoke about new regulations, basically for influencers and their responsibility to and how they speak on things, the disclosure. So one of the things that was in there was that influencers are not supposed to make medical claims about products. And this is actually something a lot of brands have been relying on. So for instance, like if you we've seen this with a lot of you can't, like, if a court, like, so for the FDA, so I can't claim that something does something. Like I can't claim that something will repair your skin or something like that, or like anti-acne. Like acne is a medical claim. So if something is like acne curing, you have to have ingredients in there that have been proven to cure acne. And you can say things visibly reduce the appearance of, you can talk about the appearance of things, but you can't say that something changes the structure of DNA, or like something like this, in this case, her saying, and like companies haven't been able to do that for a while. I think the CBD, this whole CBD thing is a big one, because they talks, like people like to say, oh, it cured, it's anti-inflammatory. It made me, it helped my, it helped, it was anti-inflammatory on my skin. Things like, oh, it relieves my pain. But the thing is companies haven't been able to do that. So a lot of these influencers, a lot of people who are viewing them say this kind of stuff, but you're making medical claims that haven't been proven. And I think it's good that the FTC is cracking down on this, because they're a point of sale. They're acting as salespeople. So for them to make medical claims about something is not very responsible, in my opinion. So I think it's good when Sandra Lee said something, and I know Michelle Phan had kind of like said something back to that, but I think it's good to know what the line should be, and especially for influencers, you have to do things responsibly. All right, so now we're going to talk about this KVD Beauty, because this I thought was so, oh my God, the rebranding was very interesting. So obviously Kat Von D Beauty, a lot of people don't support her anymore for various reasons, all of which are highly valid. And she actually seemed like she sold her shares in the company, left the company, gets no financial anything from the company, and they decided to rebrand Kat Von D Beauty into Kind Vegan Discovery Beauty. I don't know why they went this route. Like they could have called it so many things, but I just don't know. But for me, I'm actually happy about this, that she's left the company. I did really love Kat Von D products. This was I bought her products like before the anti-vax stuff came out, and I didn't really look that heavily into like her past, like the anti-Semitism past, the anything like that, and I didn't really look into some of the names. I guess I just didn't pay attention that much to them, but I did really enjoy like the Shade and Light palette. I enjoyed the tattoo liner. The liquid lipsticks are still some of my favorites. And what else did I try? I one eyeshadow palette that was like an old formula that was like good. But now, since she's not getting any money for it, I'm not going to run out and go buy everything. But for instance, like I do like the liquid lipsticks. I like Lolita, so if I will like probably purchase that one again. So I'm kind of curious. What do you guys think? What do you guys feel about like the new branding? Would you buy these products? Were there any products that you stopped buying from her? Yeah, I don't really think the KVD is enough difference easier either. I think I feel like they just could have called it something else. Like I don't know why they couldn't have called it like Kendo Vegan Beauty. Like you didn't need the D. Like if you keep the K, I feel, and leave like the V. Like if you keep the K and the V, I think they're pretty solid. I don't think they really needed a lot of it. And even with the less waste, I think a lot of that stuff is still getting sold off anyway. So even with the rebranding, a lot of the this like the liquid lipsticks I know said Kat Von D on them. So they're gonna have to sell those off anyway. That's not because it still has her name on it. Yeah, see, a lot of people, and I probably honestly won't really like look out for the brand that much. I'm not really excited about the brand, but if, like I said, the liquid lipsticks, the tattoo liner is still my favorite liner. I haven't repurchased it, but I got samples in boxes and stuff, so I've just used it. And I don't really I don't not publicly wear it, but I don't really wear it on like my Instagram and tag it. I don't really wear it on YouTube and tag it. I think it's important, like these kind of things, and it's very interesting that it kind of seems like she ended up getting pushed out from her own brand. All right, okay. Well, I know this wasn't a super long stream, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this stream. I really like talking about issues like this, so hopefully, if you guys see any news stories or anything that you want to talk about, and if it's not really a like a long, like if it's not something that I can make a single video on, I would really like to be able to do this again because I like hearing all of your opinions. That's my favorite part of this whole thing. All right. So I hope you guys have a good Wednesday. I hope you guys enjoy your Valentine's Day, whatever you're doing. If you have a significant other, if you don't have a significant other, I hope it's a great time for you. And I will see you guys later. Bye.